Hey guys, and welcome to another brand new video. In this video, we actually have some pretty big news that's going to come out over here, and this is actually kind of like a momentous occasion, I would say, when it comes to the PlayStation 5. Now, as you guys know, we've actually had a lot of hacking news and kind of like updates, glitches, and all that stuff the past like 2 weeks or so on the channel. A lot of folks are trying to go and push into emulators, a lot of folks are trying to use like PS2 files to somehow scheme the system and make the PlayStation 5 able to run its own OS. But one really big thing that came out over here is now we does seem like we can officially see and state the PlayStation 5 has been jailbroken. So we have a lot of stuff to talk about. There was like a public video that came out too. There's files that have also been installed, and this is actually going to be, I think, almost the start of a new era when it comes to things you could do with the console. Now, obviously, we're still in these early stages of people working through these internals and trying to figure stuff out, because in theory, Sony was and is on top of this stuff, and was and is wants to keep on top of this stuff to prevent, like, a lot of modders, a lot of hackers, or just, people having IP access or whatever it may be. But this is actually a huge, huge milestone when it comes to PlayStation 5. So we're going to talk about this, show you guys the videos, give you guys some details and all of this. So let's go and talk about it. As well, if you guys are brand new, make sure you guys are subscribed with the notifications on. As well, for the brand new PlayStation 5 giveaway with a Twitter link down below for it. We have the Twitter and Twitch and all that good stuff as well down below. Amazon links, and let's dive into the video. So as I mentioned, we are now apparently seemingly seeing the jailbroken PlayStation 5 already happening. Like, I guess it's gonna be a thing. It's intriguing. So we have a lot of articles that's been kind of like the big news of the day, along with a lot of other big things we'll probably cover up on the channel. But the PlayStation 5 has seemingly been jailbroken, and people are now already installing games such as PT, Playtest, the old school game that we all thought was gonna be Silent Hill, and consoles were selling for like $1,000 that still had the app on it, is now apparently all able to be accessed. So, as of right now, a limited jailbreak seems to have been achieved for the PlayStation 5. Like I said, this is like a momentous thing. This is a big thing in the console's life. So Sony's PlayStation 5 seems to have been jailbroken. So of course, people are installing, obviously, PT. PlayStation modder Spectre Dev unveiled a new jailbreak earlier on today, an experimental IPv kernel exploit for the PS5. Now, we kind of covered this up on a separate video, and I think a lot of it was also me kind of being like a little bit over my head, where I was like, okay, a lot of information's coming out. We saw some of those early leaks. We saw like even some of the other stuff. But apparently this is a lot better and a lot more fine detail because we have official videos of it as of now. So like, I think we kind of covered some of the stuff and kind of hinted at some of these like progressions that were ongoing on the channel itself. So this jailbreak relies on the WebKit vulnerability as an entry point, so it will only work on PS5s running firmware 4.0 of 4.03 or lower, and then even then, apparently only works around 30% of the time, which I think is like we covered before, and I think they were still trying to run a 4.5, I think what we saw. So in simple terms, jailbreaking refers to reverse engineering closed hardware and is often used to unlock debug menus and allow the use of unauthorized software too as well. Fellow modder Lance McDonald showcased his new jailbreak in action by installing famous lost game PT on his PS5. So I'm going to show you guys this up over here too as well. This actually came out a few hours ago too, so you guys can go and see with this. So if we're going through all these files over here, I'm just going to full screen it for you guys and kind of do a quick walkthrough with it. Basically, like we've kind of been mentioning, it's just a lot of folks are now using different types of systems, software, files, or whatever it might be to try and, well, change their consoles. And with this, we're now seeing people actually having a chance to go launch this stuff and change up the consoles in the first place. And this does open up a lot more, both good and bad. Typically, when you guys have a chance to like homebrew jailbreak consoles, you could just do quite a bit more with your console, whether it's like including different dev tools, maybe getting more different types of IPs, trying to get different types of assets, data mining too, as well, as I think is a big thing, or as well as we've been seeing on other stuff the past 2 weeks, I think also opening up emulators. Now, I'm definitely not the most, like, I guess, smart when it comes to all this information, or not, how to use this stuff or how to code this. But as you guys can see, they're launching different types of code then, and I think at this point, it's pretty much allowing you guys to do different things. I'm not sure like the most specific things. If you guys want to time in your thoughts, feel free to. Or if you guys have done stuff with like prior consoles, like the PS3 or whatever, if you guys know like bigger changes, let me know. But I think this is a big momentous thing because although it's not 100% accurate, like it's not running 100% of the time, if they have a chance to go through more different details and internal details and all of that, it just opens up the window for a lot of things. And like I said, I think this also might open up some more hacking menus. I think most of the people out as of right now are more so wholesome, and they're not trying to push that for like hackers and cheats and stuff like that, as of my guessing. You guys can kind of see, like, here's them even installing different type of stuff. I believe this might be the PT thing that was mentioned in the article itself, where they have like the added to downloads and uploads. And what I've seen a lot of folks on like 3DSs and other consoles, Nintendo consoles or whatever, I think it also kind of opens up windows, and I covered this on prior videos, I could be wrong, like things like Nintendo games being able to access and like be downloaded, maybe even online games too as well, mods possibly too. Like, I could be wrong, but I think that's how it would work, and that's why some of them were saying you need to have a disk drive to really go and like have access to different things or use different types of CD drives that are optimized and stuff like that. But there was also, I think, workarounds with digital consoles too. So you guys can see right up on the very top over there, that's where they have this custom now package that was able to be launched and installing and playing on the PT, which, as you guys know, has been removed off the PlayStation Store itself. So that just kind of goes to show you can add and access and do different things with your consoles. I'm kind of probably explaining this really poorly because I'm not, I got like the rough idea of it, but not so much. So we covered this up beforehand too as well, where they now have the PS5 kernel exploit, WebKit vulnerability for firmware 4.03. And we didn't mention this before. So the website's saying it's fairly stable, and its experience will work around 30% of the time. If you're trying to run it, don't give up. It might require several attempts before the exploit gets through. Possibly more important though, this exploit gives us a read-write access, but no execute. So this is more the internals I was trying to guess over here. So this means that there's no possibility to load and run binaries at the moment. Everything is constrained within the scope of the ROP chain. The current implementation does, however, enable debug settings too as well. So currently it has arbitrary read and write things that can run a basic RPC server for reads and writes, or a dump server for large reads. And you also must edit apparently your own address and port for that one. It enables debug settings menu too as well, and gives you root privileges. So as of right now, the limitations are basically this exploit achieves /writes, but not code executions. This is because we cannot currently dump kernel code for gadgets, as kernel.txt pages are marked as execute-only memory. Attempt to read those pointers will panic. As per the above, the hypervisor HV enforcing kernel write protection, this exploit also cannot install any patches or hook into kernel space. I have no idea what some of this stuff is too, like writing primitive is also as well. Like, I'm not really sure what writing primitive is in all honesty as we're going through this stuff, but it just kind of opens up a lot more potential options overall. So stability notes. So stability for this exploit's around 30%, so it's not running perfectly. So stage 1 causes more than one UAF due to failing to catch one or more in the reclaim, causing latent corruption that causes a panic sometime later on. Stage 4 finds the overlap in victim socket, but the PK tops is the same as the master sockets do, causing the read primitive to just read back at the pointer too as well. So God only knows, but there's another also thing over here from Echo Stretch that's showcasing up a few more of these exploits over here for both the disc and digital. And like I said, this is actually a little bit more what we talked about like a little bit ago. Maybe like 2 days ago, but this is like more in-depth and like more showcasing everything and a little bit more, I guess, straightforward. So you guys can kind of see some of these like things. So you can still see the Switch. As I mentioned, you could run different types of games. You have PS4 Linux, Wii U, PS4 mods, all this other different type of stuff that people are able to access and run, and these different PS4 files too, which was, I think, also confirmed usable on the prior videos. So you guys can see things like this with like the URL redirectors on top of this, which is very intriguing to see, with different, like, you know, directory listings, document listings, and all of this over on top of this, README files, etc. So then with this, they have a chance to run these files through the actual consoles themselves, as you guys saw with the PT test, and basically install and run all these different types of files and have access to different types of games. Keep on using like the 3DS type examples too. It's kind of a really good example nonetheless. So as you can see them connecting to their own servers too, and we'll see whenever it actually goes and launches, if it does, or if anything changes with that. There you go, maybe with this over here. And as you guys can kind of see, they have different stuff all being launched up tied with this, which is actually very nifty and cool to go and see. But as you guys can see, they're definitely changing up the internal files. So basically, if you guys ever want to run into this one stuff too, not that I'm encouraging it, you can basically download all this hack and go from that. But obviously, when it comes to this stuff, you want to make sure you don't do anything illegal or don't do anything bad with it. So it gives access to debug menus, as well as the ability to install a PS4 PKJ file, which is a backup of a game, and that's why they were using the PT in the first place as well. And while Sony will likely keep an eye on the PS5 jailbreak, it's unlikely to make it into widespread use in its current form because it's only running at 30%. But it does go and show that it's possible, so we'll see what happens later on as well, because basically you can't have a way to execute anything you install with it too. So it's getting there. It's very limited. It's getting there, and I'm excited to see the future of this. And let me know if you guys have ever done this with prior consoles before. There's always that small bad chance with it tied on in, but at the end of the day, seems kind of cool. So give me your thoughts and comments down below. Make sure you guys are subscribed with the notifications on as well for the brand new PlayStation 5 giveaway, and the Amazon links down below, the Twitter and Twitch stream as well, and the Weeble targets and all of that. And I'll see you guys later on throughout today for more videos.